Hi, and welcome to another episode of Real PR. Today with me, Lauren Roberts, where we talk to business owners and people that we know and like about their business and their journeys. So I'm going to talk to Ashley today and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Thank you very much, Lauren. My name's Ashlea Fisher, and I'm the founder and managing director of I Recruit For.
And where are you based, Ashley? You're local to us, aren't you?
We're based in Wootton Bassett. We've got offices there, but we supply pretty much up and down the M4 corridor. So anywhere from Basingstoke, Andover, Swindon, down to Bath, Bristol, and all the surrounding areas.
Because I love this area, there's so many different types of businesses.
Oh, it's great.
Do you sort of focus on one area that you recruit for, or what kind of industry are you
So
working
we specialise in blue collar temp recruitment. So predominantly logistics, distributors, manufacturing businesses, FMCG, which is food manufacturing. So we'll do anything from warehouse staff, forklift drivers, van drivers, up to HGV drivers, and everything in between. We also include sort of the higher level roles with that. So team leaders, supervisors, managers. So that's the blue collar side of the business. And then we have our white collar side of the business, and that is predominantly permanent placements. So that is more higher level caliber candidates, again, kind of management through to engineering and everything in between, office staff. So yeah, quite a diverse range of businesses that we work with.
Absolutely. Yeah. You've been in recruitment for quite a while, haven't you? Take me back to sort of where your journey first started.
Oh gosh, I think I was in my early 20s. Years ago, I worked for Connell's estate agents, and I had a client who used to be a property investor. And we worked together quite well. And one day we were out on a viewing, and he turned around to me and said, "Oh, have you ever thought about becoming a recruitment consultant?" And I was like, "Oh, I'd love to help people get into jobs," and like a complete vision of what I thought recruitment was, which it wasn't at all. And at the time, I think I was on like £16,000 a year and worked weekends. And he was like, you can work Monday to Friday. It's office based and office hours. You don't have to work weekends. And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll come and have a chat with you. So off I trotted along to my interview. It was for a company in Andover called Active Staff. Grey and White, and he interviewed me and offered me the job. And yeah, I literally, my first day in recruitment, I got thrown a desk pad, a pen, one of the old reams of clients, and got told there's your clients, there's the people that are out working for you, go and find more business and start putting people into jobs. Like really lack of training. And
wow.
Yeah, and I ran with it and grew my desk, as it were, because they call it your desk in recruitment. And I think I started off working for that company with like 20 staff out working for me a day. And oh gosh, like within 12 months, I had nearly 100 people out working for me a day. And got to know lots of local businesses in Andover. And I think that's what made me fall in love with it, really. It was just, it was so diverse. You'd be dealing with, quite high-end business owners and people that own their own businesses, down to the managers that used to recruit for the teams, all the way down to kind of the warehouses and the forklift drivers. And it was so diverse, and you met so many different people, and I just loved it. Yeah. So that was where my career started, and I was with them for about 7-8 years. Towards the end was when I kind of had to dip off because I had my babies. I've got 3 daughters. So Maddie was my first one, and I went off on maternity leave and came back part-time. And, about a year or so later, fell pregnant with my twins and then disappeared off for another 9 months and came back again. And unfortunately, that role, when I came back, because it was part-time, I was placed under redundancy. And I don't know, the stars must have aligned somewhere because I was headhunted by a lady called Tara Hutchins, and I was on the phones at work and put the phone down. I just happened to answer a call that came through when I was at Active Staff, and she was like, "You Ashley?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Ashley." And she said, "Is it okay to have a quick off the record conversation with you? Can I have your mobile number?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Like, chucked her my mobile number, and she called me 15 minutes later and said, "Oh, I've got a client that's been watching you for a little while, and they're really keen to come into Andover, and wondered if you'd be interested in joining them as a kind of business development manager. So I said, look, happy to have that conversation. And as it happened, like that day, I got pulled into my first redundancy meeting with active staff. It just happened that it all worked out for the best. And then I joined a company called Core Recruitment. I was with Core for probably another 7-8 years. And I think that's really where my recruitment career flourished. The CEO of Core Recruitment, his name was Danny Core. He was a fantastic boss. He really was wonderful. And he did lots of training with you and enhanced me and took me through a journey of starting as a business development manager. I did so well bringing on business. I had a young girl that had never been in recruitment before, so it was literally just the two of us, and I trained her, and we set up a branch in Andover and literally just went from strength to strength, so much so that, the old director of active staff text me one day saying, Ash, come on, girl, like, please, like, stop going anywhere near our clients, because you keep taking everyone off of us. And he later said to me very recently that I did a lot of damage to their business, which was great for me, not so much for them. Started off branch manager there and ended up in a regional manager's role, and worked really hard, and then opened up other offices across the UK for Core, which I loved doing. And then closer to the end of my journey with Danny, I started off part-time with him and ended up full-time with him. I was very lucky. He offered me a director's role there, which was lovely. But sadly, during that time, I was going through a bit of a divorce towards the end, and I ended up moving away from where I was located in Andover and moved up this way. And I think just the commute for me was killing me. I had a young family at home, and being a regional director, 1 minute you could be in London, the next minute you could be in Basingstoke, the next day you could be down in Bristol, and you've got to do your hours. And I wasn't getting in until 6:30 at night, and I was missing so much of my daughter's sort of younger years. So I got headhunted again for another company, which sadly isn't in Swindon, a company called OPX. And I was there for 3 years, started off just really trying to build the recruitment business and brand, and took on a director's role there. And very sadly, about 18 months ago, they were a group, and the logistics side of the business got into financial difficulty, and it toppled recruitment and distribution. So I kind of found myself in a situation where, it was a sink or swim moment, and I knew that one day I always wanted to do it myself. It was a case of now or never, really, and I handed my notice in, knowing that the inevitable was coming, and started iRecruit4. And then I was contacted one evening, because obviously, sadly, the other staff were going through what they were going through working for the company, which was really difficult for them. And Megan, who's been with me since day one, she rang me one night and said, you disappeared today, and where did you go? And I said, no, that was my last day, I've left. And she said, well, I don't know what to do. And what are you going to do? And I was like, I'm just going to jump into my own business, because although 18 months ago we really launched iRecruit4, I actually had iRecruit for 3 years prior to that. And it was set up not as a bit of a side hustle, I'll be honest. Nothing to do with the same industry as what I was doing at OPX. It was more permanent commercial placements, and I had great relationships with some people, so it was a bit of pocket money for me and the family, and it paid for a couple of holidays a year and things like that. So that's kind of how it started. And then Megan made that phone call, and she was like, I don't know what to do, because I'm going to be jobless in a week's time. Can I come with you? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I want you to come with me. But I had to be really honest with her. I was like, I've got 25 grand in the bank. If this doesn't work, both of us are going to be out of a job in 3 months. And with that, she literally went into work the next day, handed a notice in, and started with me the following Monday. And we literally, knew that the inevitable was happening with the company that we were working for. And we swooped in, and we kind of went out to clients and said, look, this is happening. It's a really difficult situation, but this is what we're doing. And 80% of the clients went, well, the only reason why we were there was because of you girls, so we're coming with you. So literally overnight we swooped in and took some of the clients. And obviously what comes with the sadness of the redundancy with that particular client, we had multiple phone calls one day when they actually went into administration because the temps hadn't been paid.
Yeah.
So then we had more telephone calls from clients, and they were like, our staff that we've taken off of APX, they haven't been paid. And I was like, I you know, it's inevitable. It's a sad situation. And they were like, well, can you help us? And I was like, absolutely. Send the timesheets over and we'll get them paid. And that was it. So I think we saved about 40 temps at the time. That were in sort of temporary assignments. And, you know, you've got to remember these people live hand to mouth, Lauren, you know. If they don't get paid at the end of the week, they can't put electric on their keys. So, yeah, we swooped in and registered all these people. Like, it was a busy couple of days, and we were rallying around and getting people registered and all their compliance documents up together. And, yeah, and then ran it through payroll. And I remember us sitting down on the Friday afternoon thinking, oh my God, like, I can't believe like what's just happened. What, like, wonderful the trust and the belief that our clients had in both myself and Megan. But yeah, we managed to salvage you know, people's lives really at that point. And yeah, that was really the start of I Recruit For, and we flourished from there.
Absolutely not a soft launch into running your own business and sort of pushing it from that point, was it?
Yeah, really pushing it. And there was some sleepless nights, I can tell you. And yeah, you kind of go on this roller coaster of a journey, and, you know, it's sad because you know, you feel bad about what you've left behind and what other people are going through. And, you know, you get lots of people that are quite skeptical and thinking, oh, you know, they screwed those people over. It wasn't like that at all. It really was an inevitable situation, and we just had to make hay while the sun shone, and you know, take it from there, and we did.
Yeah. And sort of, you've said it, I think, a couple of times there when you were telling me, it's almost like the universe was sort of pushing you in that direction. You know, there's a couple of times there that things have almost presented themselves to you to take that opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm a great believer in the universe. I'm quite a spiritual little body, and I do believe that sometimes things are meant to be, and I genuinely believe that I was meant to do what I was doing. I definitely couldn't have done it without Megan by my side. Like, she's absolutely wonderful. She's my right arm, and quite honestly, I don't think I could trust anyone more than I could trust her. She's just been a pillar for me. And well, both of us have been pillars for each other. There's been some real rocky times. 4 months into launching I Recruit For, one of our biggest clients, we had about 15 to 20 staff in there. I was actually at a meeting with a consultant, and Megan kept calling me, and I had to say to the chap that I had the meeting with, I'm really sorry, I've got to take this call. Answered the phone, and Megan was like, "You sat down?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" I could tell that she was panicking, and she went, "Home base have just gone into administration." And I was like, "What?" She said, "Home base have just gone into administration. What do you want me to do?" And I was like, I'm leaving now. I'll come straight back to the office. And I mean, 4 months into launching a new business, I'll be honest with you, they owed us like nearly £80,000. They were on 60-day invoicing.
Yeah.
And the staff we had in there were doing, you know, 40-hour plus weeks. So there was definitely a point there that I thought, well, that's it. We're done. We're done for. Like, how on earth are we going to get out of this hole? But we did, and when we did manage it. And, you know, I don't know how we did it sometimes, but we did. And, you know, within 6 months, that debt was paid off. So, you know, every bit of profit that we were getting, we were covering costs and paying off this debt that we had to because of home base. And, you know, we've never seen a penny of that money back. And that was a real tough time. That was a real dig deep moment for me. And obviously with like a young family at home as well. You know, I've got 3 young daughters, and you know, they look up to me and my husband, and I was thinking, I don't know how this is going to go, but one thing I know for sure is that this can't fail. I've got 3 little girls watching me. So, yeah, it was a real dig deep moment, and we got through it. And then last year I think was great. Our first year we did, over 1 million, which is what we budgeted for, and this year we've got, second proper year of business. We've got a target of 2 million turnover, so we're definitely on target to do that at the moment. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster so far, and I'm sure it will be a roller coaster yet. So yeah,
it'd be boring if it wasn't.
Oh yeah, it really would be. Sometimes I wonder whether I went into the right business, but yeah.
You haven't had a quiet launch, and it doesn't sound like it's going to get there either.
No.
It's exciting though.
Yeah, it is exciting, and I think as well, like just the relationships and the loyalty that we've had. I mean, everyone always says there's no loyalty in business, but I genuinely would have to push back on that. There's been huge loyalty to us in business. I know that we've got a huge amount of competition in the area, and we get told when our competition try and go in and nab the business. And everyone, we're not the cheapest agency. We run quite a tight ship, especially with the payroll models at the moment, and we're not the cheapest agency out there. And our competition has gone in and tried undercutting us, and our clients are like, no, because you can't match that kind of service level, and that's lovely. But we're all ambassadors for each other. I think that's a really important fact, certainly in our industry. I mean, there's lots of businesses that we've worked with over the years that we've positioned in with other clients. It could be a manufacturing company that I've positioned in because they might specialise in making boxes or printing or something like that, and put them onto other clients. So it is about networking and trying to enhance everyone, really. So we're like a free sales service for our clients as well as ourselves as well. So it's good fun.
It is good fun. And talk to me a bit about, so I think the thing that obviously we now work together, so I'm starting getting to know the bits that you do about, and something that I really love is the way that you like to give back.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about sort of the fundraising.
So one of the things that we do with clients, so most businesses have a charity that they support. So what we do, particularly on the perm side of the businesses, is we pledge a percentage of our perm fees back to the charity of their choice. So I think we did over £6,000 last year in giving back, and we share because we care, is what we call it. I think it's really important to give back, and it's something that I personally stand for. If we can help charities in any way that we possibly can, we want to try and give back and support them. So part of our permanent model is that we will pledge a percentage of our invoice value back to a charity of their choice, and that's great because that couples with obviously you guys as well, and good for the charities, the businesses, and us with a bit of PR. And we can all work together and support, I suppose.
How is, you just touched there a little bit sort of on the PR side of it, how important is it to you and your business to be visible?
Oh, massively important. I think one of the biggest things for me is I'm not from around here, as they say. I'm a foreigner, so I've spent 5 years in the area. I haven't had the longevity in relationships that some people have had. So it's great for me to have the PR and the team to have the PR and the business, because we're new to start with. People are still getting to know the name. I think it's important that the stories that go out are stories that enhance all different sectors as well. I know we've just done a piece on apprenticeships, and I think it's important because one of the things that we've learned along the bumpy road in recruitment is people buy from people. So I think it's really important to get us and our personalities out there, and for that to shine really more than anything, because you want to be known, you want to be liked, and you want to be trusted. And I think that working with you guys has been great for that. I'm certainly going into networking events and people are saying, oh my goodness, I saw you the other day and it was great, I read your article, and so I think it's really important, and especially when you might not have that longevity in the relationships in the area. I think the more you get out and PRs there, people feel like they know you before you step through the door. And I think that's really important to us.
Yeah, that's something that we work with all of our clients a lot
Yeah.
to make sure that the personality is shining through. Because I think in the world that we're in now, where you can read things and maybe not necessarily there might not be a human behind that anymore. There's things that are
No.
changing. Is that shown in recruitment? I guess you see CVs and things like that all the
Yeah,
time.
I think the biggest thing, like it is for a lot of businesses at the moment, is the AI world, isn't it? We're certainly seeing a lot of AI written CVs.
Can you spot them a mile off?
Oh my goodness, yes, yes. And one of part of our service as well is that we do run a CV writing service, and it's not an AI written service. We do it ourselves, and I think one of the consultative things of our industry is you'll get an AI CV over, and don't get me wrong, AI is wonderful in some aspects, and it saves an awful lot of time, and it certainly helps with the flow of CVs and getting certain points across, and maybe the vocabulary or the language that's used in CVs. But it really does lack a personal touch. And a lot of the consultative information that we give back to both candidates and our clients actually as well is it sounds like AI's written it. So you need to change this, this and this, and it will make you shine through as a person and what actual value you can bring to the business. So, I think that it's a wonderful tool to use in our industry, and we're seeing it more and more. And certainly in our industry, it's great for certain things like our job boards and job writing and things like that. That's it's saved us an awful lot of time. But I think that you have to be very, very careful in our industry, because our industry is very people focused, and what we don't want to lose is that personal touch. One of the things that we stand by at iRecruit is getting into the DNA of the businesses, actually. So we never want to be looked at as, oh, it's the agency that are working with us. We want to be looked at as more of their out of office recruitment team, and understanding the businesses that we're working with. So actually we feel like part of their business, because I've never understood how you can recruit someone into a position unless you really understand the bones of what you're working with. So that's also something that's really, really important, and we've got to make sure that isn't lost in our industry, because I've seen some pretty phenomenal AI tools. I have lots of Zoom meetings and things like that with people trying to sell products, and some of them you're absolutely blown away by, but actually when it comes to using it, you do spend more time than you think you would editing it and changing it.
It's not a time-saving tool by the time you get through it.
Yeah, it is. I would say it's definitely a time-saving tool in some elements. But as I said, it's that personal touch, and you can't. A computer can't mimic that. It can't do that. There's a computer's not going to pick up if someone has got personal commitments at home. And one of the things that we do is we don't just look at skill matching. We look at people's traits and their soft skills. Making sure that they're going to walk into a culture that they're going to be comfortable in, and our clients are going to be comfortable with them. And so, AI is never going to be able to pick that up in a CV or an interview. Even they're the things that only a human being can do. So
it'll be interesting to see how that moves along going into this year. For your business, what sort of plans have you got for your business then, heading into your second full year of?
Gosh, well, we're recruiting at the moment. So one of the things that I said earlier on is predominantly our business is blue collar temp type roles, but we do a lot of the permanent placements as well. So this year the task is going to be to find a shit hot consultant on our perm side. So we're interviewing actively at the moment, and hopefully we'll find the right frog.
Do you look for the same sort of traits in people for your own business as you would for clients?
No, completely different. I think for my business personally, I think it's really important to be inclusive, but also have very different characters in there, because I think if you're all the same, you're only going to bring the same kind of clients with you. So I like to have a diverse range of people, different personalities, because they might get on with someone better than I would. It's something that I think is important for every business. You can't have everyone the same as you, can you? So yeah, so growth this year. We obviously going to be hiring in that third person. We are also, by the end of the year, we're hoping to target more the FMCG market, which is food manufacturing. We hold a gangmaster's license. I'm not sure if you've heard of one of those.
What does that mean?
So the GLAA license, as we call it, basically is a certification that you can supply into the fresh produce or drink sectors. It was brought out many years ago. I don't know, you're probably too young to remember the cockle pickers that died at Morecambe Bay. So it's been put in place to protect workers, make sure that they're not exploited. And, years and years ago, especially when I was younger and running a desk, there was an awful lot of exploitation and gangs. And you'd have to be really, really good with compliance, because you could have a group of people turn up in to register with you, and actually when you sit down and look all of it, you realise that all 6 people that you've just registered have got the same bank account. So there's definitely legislation in place to protect that, and we worked hard to get that gangmaster's licence. So it's something that we need to really leverage down on this year.
Yeah.
And an industry that I've known for 25 years. So I think that would be the next target. And then we've got the eye care full division as well that will be launching in the next probably 2 months as well. So it's a personal assistant side of the business. It's not care staff. It's the bit before it goes to personal care. So we're going to be launching that. And hopefully I'll be working with the lovely Janet Shreves as well. We'll see where that one goes as well. But yeah, we'll diversify this year, and lots of exciting plans. And hopefully by the end of the year, I can tick it off my list and say that was accomplished. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
And in terms of sort of the more wider recruitment world, what sort of things do you see, any sort of trends forming this year?
Oh, goodness, yeah. I think the biggest one this year is the severed liability. So within our industry, unfortunately, there's been lots of what I would say are dodgy payroll companies that make recruitment agencies lots and lots of money. And it's tax avoidance, tax evasion, and they're clamping down on that massively this year. And I've seen that HMRC have actively been going out and knocking on doors and saying, "Oi, this is not something that you should be working on." And I think that that's a real positive thing actually for our industry this year, because it means that we're going to have a bit more of a level playing field when it comes to, for example, our rates. So we can go into a client and say, this is what we're going to charge for an hourly rate on this, and they'll come back to us and say, "Oh, you're nowhere near what the agency I'm currently using is charging us." And actually you sit there and go, I don't know how they're charging you that, because it doesn't even cover the employment costs. So I think there's going to be a massive shake up in our industry this year, and I think that some of the agencies that have been reaping the rewards of the dodgy payroll models are going to actually see what it's like to run a legitimate payroll service to our clients as well, and our candidates. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm excited about that, because I feel like it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
A long time coming.
It sounds like you're ready for it.
Oh yeah, we've been operating on what I would say a legitimate payroll PAYE model since we started. So we're not worried about it. We work with a superb payroll company, a company called Orca. They've looked after me particularly since day one. Rob Sharp, the owner, again, been a huge ambassador for my business as I am them. And to be honest with you, they've kept me safe. They've kept me really safe. The other thing that they've introduced to us and our business is another company called SafeRec. So what SafeRec do is they'll come in every week and they will audit all of our pay slips to make sure that Orca are paying all of the taxes across to HMRC. And that's fantastic for us, because when we go into new clients, we can say, you're safe. You don't need to worry about any tax avoidance, payroll models, or we've got an open door policy on audits. You're in safe hands. All of our pay slips are audited by a company called SafeRec. So there's going to be no hidden surprises down the road and no knocks on the door from HMRC saying, well, actually, your agency haven't been paying this and you're in the supply chain, so you've got to pay it now. So, yeah, we're in a safe place.
Good. It sounds like you've created a really safe, like you say, safe environment and really personable as well. You really focus on the people, and that's what we like to do too.
Yeah, no, it's so important, isn't it? Yeah. And, people are at the heart of everyone's business. And I think the biggest thing for us is that value-added service. We do want to become an arm to your business or the businesses that we're working for. And understanding people's businesses is so important to us because that's their babies. You know, that is their babies, and they've worked really, really hard to get their companies to where they are now. And, I feel hugely blessed, to be honest with you, that people trust us with, finding the right people for their businesses. And the value that we've added along the road, don't get me wrong, we work in recruitment, our product is people. And unfortunately, at times, people can be a really unreliable product. But I think it's about the honesty and integrity and communication, trust and that you have with your clients. And I think honesty is the best policy. My mum brought me up and she always said to me that the truth's the safest place to be. And we stand by that. It's one of our values at iRecruit. And that's all we can ever be with our clients is honest, transparent. But we like to think that we do a good job and do our, good due diligence and keep our customers safe with compliance and care. I think that's one of the biggest things at the moment, communicate and actually care about what you're doing, because there is a lot of people out there that don't. And it's something that I think particularly over COVID, personal skills have been lost, certainly with the younger generation that are coming up. And one of the things, again, that we do as an added value service is we'll sit down and go through interview techniques with people. We don't just throw people into interviews and say, right, good luck, hope it works out. We'll go through, this is what's really important to this company. These are the areas that, they really need focus on. And that's about the DNA and understanding what the businesses that we work with want. And if we didn't share that, we wouldn't be doing our jobs properly. So, it's a lot of hand-holding, but we love it. And we meet some great people along the way. And again, I had a phone call yesterday from someone that I put into an interview last year. And rang me up yesterday and said, I've got a friend that's going to be coming to you. I was like, crikey, I haven't spoke to you for, over a year. And he was like, you guys were just the best agency that I ever worked with. You were so lovely. You helped me. And do you know what? That goes so far with us. Like, it's so lovely to be told that we're doing a good job. And the fact that 12 months later, someone's even thinking about us. So I think that's testament to the team and how well we all do, really. So, it's good.
So if somebody wants to come and work with a brilliant recruitment team, how can they get in contact with you, Ashley?
Oh, God. There's so many different ways. Well, you can call me. My telephone number's on the website. You can contact me on email. But all the details are on the website. So www.irecruit4.co.uk. Alternatively, my first name, ASHLEA, at irecruit4.co.uk. So, lovely.
Thank you very much for talking to me today.
You're welcome.
And we look forward to sharing your stories for the rest of this year.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us today, whether you're on video, watching us on YouTube, or if you're listening to us in your car, or if you're listening on your podcasts. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lauren. If you want to get into contact with us, it's lauren@fionascott.co.uk. Or you can visit our website, scottmedia.uk. Take care.